Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another NIKKE reaction. Today we're going to be listening to Rewrite. A lot of people wanted me to get to this one. It had one of the comments with one of the most likes on it, but they also said I should get to all of the other stuff from Old Tales, and they weren't sure if I had the time to do that. And the answer is yes, of course I have the time to do that. This is my full-time job now, doing these reactions. So like, if you have specific ones, tell me what they are, and then let people vote on those down in the comments so I can get to those. But I will start with Rewrite. I know it's the epilogue, but I don't think that I would be listening to them in order anyway, so that's kind of irrelevant. But I did see a lot of people that wanted me to listen to this, so I'm going to. And without further ado, let's go! Oh, it's so beautiful already, dude. Beautiful chord progression. It's so nostalgic already. Okay. I'll have to look up the translations for these lyrics. The panning on those vocals, though. Those harmonies are gorgeous. I'm adoring this piano arrangement. This is perfection for an epilogue. Just the music alone has a great emotional weight to it. The flow is gorgeous. And let it hang up there. Just let it hang up. No need to, like, settle anything down. No need. Man, that was beautiful, dude. What the hell? So this song is an absolute delight. Like I said during the reaction, just the overall feel of this song has such a nostalgic quality to it. And a lot of that does have to do with the way that the song was written, the chords that were being used. I will definitely get to that. But I did want to start with the lyrics. I did look up a translation of the lyrics. And I'm not going to try to pronounce the French that the song is in, because God knows I would completely botch that. But the translation that kind of summarizes the entire story here is, it's not the end as long as we still breathe. That's kind of the vibe I was getting from just the music overall. Like, I couldn't help but shake the feeling that it felt like somebody was trying to tell me the story of something that happened that could have changed the entire trajectory of the world. Like, it felt like the song, and of course the epilogue being a part of that. I'm assuming that there's like another portion of the game that is the epilogue, and this is just this song that's supposed to be kind of a theme of it, or tell at least a summary maybe of what had happened before. The lyrics didn't seem like it was trying to do that too much, but it could be, and I'm just not aware of that context, of course. But in general, this song just had such a reflective energy to it, and everything that they were trying to tell me felt like it was something like they were trying to change the course or trajectory of a major event in the world, and maybe their plans for the future is kind of what that felt like. The imagery that was on screen, of course, was kind of helping aid that along, because whenever you put somebody on a grassy hill overlooking a giant, beautiful landscape in front of them, a huge sprawl of nature, it's usually something trying to depict looking forward and going from something that could have been tragedy and trying to find a new beginning there. That's always been kind of the thing to do visually visually when you're trying to get that feeling across, and it does its job very well. And the musical choices do that too. Like, for example, that loop that kind of starts the song is, I believe, a G minor to an E flat to an F, but every chord played there has like intricacies as well. It's not just those straight chords. You're hearing this other hand do other things and kind of just go through a deconstructed version of the chord that they're playing and carrying you through this up and down constant flow. And what's really happening here is when you go from a minor to a flat to a major chord, you're creating this sort of an evolution that continues this flow on loop, which is literally what the notes are doing, but what it's allowing itself to do is be cyclical in its design alone. So when you start with a minor key, you're starting with the tone and the mood already really mellow and down. It's a minor key. That's kind of their whole function. And then when you move to a flat, you're basically shifting the minor into what is effectively a half step leading into a full major chord. Again, this is very rudimentary, like base level understandings of how these things work together, but going from a minor to a flat and then into a full major chord is kind of that. The relationship is basically a one step up each way from a minor to a full major. You're changing the emotion only to then take that full major key and drop it immediately back down into the minor. And that's kind of what's more interesting about this, is because when you end in a major and then you cycle back to that minor in the beginning, you don't really need a connector, much like the flat acts as, because that's kind of already doing that, because a major goes into a minor sort of naturally in a lot of cases. In a lot of keys, they're like right there next to each other waiting to be utilized. Like G and F are right next to each other, so just shifting your fingers a little bit brings you to an entirely different feel without needing that in between that the E flat acts as here. This is getting a little bit complicated for those who may not be musically inclined, but that's kind of the function here, is that going from a minor to a flat to a major, it needs that in between. But then when you start that cycle again, you really don't need anything between there. You get this kind of pseudo jarring, but also kind of fulfilling, like it doesn't feel like it needs anything. As odd as it may feel to go from something so bright and inviting like a major chord to something very sad, a little bit more contemplative like a minor chord, that's like, they're literally opposites of each other when it comes to moods. So when you're like, whoa, what's going on here? But the brilliance of this is the G minor and the F major, when and almost exclusively you're going from a major to a minor. When you're going from a minor to a major, that's a little different, because even though the G minor into a straight full major and an F major in this case would be right next to each other, you're going the wrong way on a piano for it to feel like it's evolving forward and lifting up. Here the E kind of acts as a glue because it's pulling you further back down on the keyboard before then pulling you back up, but brighter this time. It's like reintroducing your brain, even though it just happened, to that area of the keyboard where you're going to need that new energy, and it's kind of refreshing you in a way. When you then restart it, you don't need to have that reset because you're already feeling more bright and positive. So when you drop that mood back down and you kind of shift your energy back into this lower state, that's more of a natural place for your body to go. It's kind of this push and pull action through the relationships of these chords. I'm yapping a lot about this, but this is very, very important, and it will be on the test. I'm just kidding, of course, there is no test, otherwise I wouldn't be a YouTuber. But either way, that's kind of the feel I'm going for here, and definitely what they were going for. This push-pull, it feels like a wave, it feels like a breeze maybe going through those grassy hills in that image, getting that mental imagery of nostalgia. Waves are a huge nostalgic factor. They bring in a lot of that energy to the mind. It kind of pulls you in naturally. For some reason, waves and water are one of the most like nostalgic factors anyone can think of, and nobody knows really why. Like, there's obviously different nostalgic things for every person. Everybody's going to have a different life experience, but for some reason, waves and water is a very constant thing for like all of humanity. So when you have that sort of a feeling in a song and you're getting this push and pull feeling, it's just kind of opening your brain and inviting you to think about the situation for some reason. I don't know what the psychology is behind that. I haven't done much studies into the psychology of music and why certain things make people feel certain ways, but every single time I hear a song like this, it reminds me how important that feeling is, and trying to nail down those intentions of the musician and their relationship with the listener. Like, they are trying to get certain emotions across, and utilizing these sorts of like mental psychological tricks is definitely a way to do that. But also it just shows how much they love what they do and how much they're paying attention to the message they're asked to convey as a musician. They go to stuff like this, little tricks that they can do to kind of pull you in that direction and hope that you follow suit and are able to relate to that in some way. And Cosmo did an amazing job with this one. This is probably one of the most emotional songs I've heard since I did a video on Spring's Pulse forever ago from Arknights, and that had a similar thing going on with how it really just put you in this situation and made you feel some sort of way that made you want to take action, but also reflect on the why I'm here right now. And it just puts you right into that chair and forces you to like reflect on all your decisions up to this point. And he does it very well. The evolution of this song is gorgeous. Like I said, it does get more complicated going into the song, but I'm not here to lecture you on music theory. I barely know it myself, and this is all more of my own opinions and scraping together my little bits of information to give you that opinion of how things work in music theory. But I at least hope it's interesting to some of you, and maybe some of you felt the same way. So let me know in the comments below if I'm in the ballpark of what you felt during this song, because that's clearly what Cosmo wants you to feel. I feel like the French is also very specific for that too, because there's something inherently nostalgic about French. Like when you listen to that language, because it's a Romance language, probably, there's just a factor of it that makes you want to pay attention, but also makes you kind of drift off into like a mental daydream land that you just can't get out of. It's just a beautiful language, and that's probably why it does that. But I've yapped plenty on this video. This video is probably going to be way too long for what it's worth, and I hope you all enjoyed it. If you have anything else you want me to get to, maybe stuff from the old tales like people said they wanted me to get to, let me know what specific ones, and I will definitely do my best to get to them. And of course, if you just like this video and you want to follow me and support me for those in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!